Okay, preview of coming attractions. Somebody told me one time that to give a demonstration, you're supposed to, or a talk or whatever, you're supposed to tell people what you're going to do. You tell them what you're going to do, and then you tell them, and then you told them, tell them what you told them, and then you're done. So I'm done. Let's start these around. Somebody want to get them going. There you go, Dwayne. Let's see if we can find that somehow or another. Some 20 years or so ago, my wife said, Don, you've got to get a hobby. And so I thought about that for a little while, and I ended up buying an old Sears lathe. Some of you started with them as well, I guess. And I tried to make a round thing, and I had difficulty with that. And then I joined the Southern Ohio Woodturners Guild, and they had a guy by the name of Robert Roseanne, gave a demonstration. And what did he make? He made little bells like this, or he made one at any rate. And I never forgot that. When I finally got rid of the old Sears lathe and bought a small jet somewhere to the lathe there, I started making a couple of these little bells with essentially a roughing gouge and parting tool. And at that time, I think I had a 3/8 inch spindle gouge. And that's about all that I had to deal with. And then you start adding to the tool kit. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here now. He with the most tools wins when he dies, I guess. Or that's what I've been told. So here's some sampling of some of the bells that I've made. They're a little varying in size. And in the handout there, there's a list, thanks to Hank. It lists a whole bunch of sizes on here. And these are just sizes from bells that I had made that kind of looked good and proportionately to what I have here. So another one. Good. If you want another sidelight here, if you want to make one of these stands like this for maybe some other things that you may want to make, little other tree ornaments and that sort of stuff, you sneak into the kitchen and you swipe your wife's whisk. You know what a whisk is? And then you clip the top of the thing off. These things will spread out, and you take your pliers and you bend them a little bit. And then your wood turner, so you can make a base for the dumb thing. And there it is. It's that simple. Or you can go buy them from someplace, I guess. Oh, they do. Yeah, yeah. They work. And then you only need a couple pieces of wood, piece of block like this, and a handle. But then you need somehow or another to do what I have started doing with these. Get one of these off of here. Is to make a dinger on the inside that'll actually move. Now, I don't know where you find a little universal joint like that, or you can get the little hooks that'll go on top. You can buy those. That's too easy. So I figured I'd learn from another guy at one of the symposiums that we used to have on how to make these. So then that's an excuse to buy something else. Wireman's pliers. Harbor Freight. Where'd my box go? Line pliers, yeah. Oh, there it is. Yep. They have, I think, both a 6 and a 9 inch. This is a 9 inch. I recommend getting the 9 inch. I'll show you how you make these things. Buy the wire like this at Hobby Lobby or uh, Michael's. Or they'll go on sale for, I don't know, $4 or $5, whatever it is. For it's 20, so you can pass them around if people want to take any notes or not. And then you take that wire and you cut it into little pieces that are going to be about 2 inches long. And they'll fit in a little box like this. This is about 2 inches long there. Get a couple out for you. You don't really need this thing until you get into it. I'm missing a thing or two. And you need a finishing nail. And if you want to save your fingers, get a piece of PVC pipe, cut a little notch in it like this. Take a piece of this wire, fold it in half. Squeeze the wire together, kind of. Clamp it, push this handle down. That'll lock it, hopefully. Now you can hang on to it like this. You can just hang on to this nail if you want to. I find it's a whole lot easier. I made this thing to save my fingers because there's a lot of pressure on that when you're holding it. Hold it in there. Hang on up here. 1, 2, 3 times ought to do it. Yeah, it will break off. Yeah. So you have one of these. Now, to make the universal joint, there's another one through here. Where's my nail go? It's in my hand. Fold this thing first. Yeah. The right one. There we go. Yeah, you really do kind of. You have to have made about 50 of these to get onto it. that in there again. Squeeze that, go of it. And cut the other end off. Now you've got your little universal joint there. Now we'll show you how to put these things together. Make these first. Start with a block like this first. And we're going to end up with something that looks like this. And you make the handle. And you can put that in there like that with the dinger. The whole thing will drop down through there. Glue that together. Make sure that the bell dinger is going to be right at that point. And then you can put it in a vise with a little rubber washer from faucet washer to protect this end. And put this whole thing then, after you put some adhesive glue in there, and go away and leave it, and you come back and you have your finished bell then. So that's it. See you tomorrow, next week. Can't do that. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, we'll clean this stuff up later. But I need to show you how to make these things first, the universal joint and that sort of stuff. I don't think Bob Rosan is doing it that way. He just had a shorter way of going about it. I've made quite a few of these things. Mostly they go over, most of these go over to Monticello based upon some wood that they had. It's cut off of Jefferson's old property there. So that's what we're going to do now, is to put this on the lathe. I found out that most of this old poplar is really kind of punky because it is old. And these are cutoffs from the huge bowls that Fred Williamson makes. So he's got all these cut off, or if he's made a lot of these bowls, you have a lot of that extra wood there. And he didn't know what to do with it. And so he gives them to me, and I get some of the kind of rotten wood afterwards, whether it's tulip poplar or oak or whatever trees they happen to cut down on the property, and can make it into these. I found out that poplar being what it is, I can't use them for the handles because they're just too funky. So some of you recall when we went over to the place where they were selling some of the rejects for making. That's hard maple. Hard maple is good. So that's what I use out of one of those rejected bat making wood for the ash or hard maple, and these are hard maple. I think I can get something like 48 of these little blanks, and I use them then for the handles for the most part. So we're gonna, okay. The block here to start with are about 2 by 2 by maybe 3 inches, 2.5, 3 inches. 3 inches will give you a little extra room to get in the in there so that you're not using your tools right up against the metal flying around on your lathe there. So we're going to start with this one, and then we'll work on doing the rest of it here. That's what he said. He cleaned them. Let's see. Here we go. Pardon me. I brought almost the entire shop here to do this. And using a handle. Yeah, that stuff. Here we are. Okay. This is just a stab center, and it fits inside the chuck here. You can get them with the Morris taper on the end as well. So eventually, I'm going to have to put this on. I use some of your stuff here, Peter. I'm going to use some of your things here. Well, let's see. This has got a little crack. I think I want to put that at the tip. There. Okay, we'll start out with a spindle gouge here. I think the spindle gouge with that old Sears lathe, but still using it. That and a parting tool, which is going to be used. I'm not sure. I don't know, I find I crank these up to about 1800. I know that this is a that I can clamp just about good. Just all that. Hopefully this will still work. Got a hard it's gonna work for me. Making sure that this comes up to the house. Okay, this is going to be the bottom. This is you got to write it up here. So that's what I'm going to. Okay. What's this? Okay. Okay. Good enough for there, for the outside, I think, at this point. Cover the deck. Now all I got to do is just get rid of a bunch of wood on the inside there. Yardstick. Uh, okay, I got one here. Just got to get to it. this, please. Okay, I want to go down in so I leave enough for the tenon, for the handle that's going to be on there. That's about 1.75 inches. So we're going to take advantage of the vernier that's on the scroll section. Speed down, move on. And we'll turn it up about 300 ppm, something like that. Quarters. Quarter. That's it. And with that, no, it goes in right up to about here. Or we can double check that if we want to. Goes in that far. Yeah, I'm back to about 17, 1800. Now this is something most of you don't have, and that's a quarter-inch bolt gouge. Yeah, 3 of them. But I found that it's the fastest way to do this. Richard Graffin would probably go in there with a spindle gouge and clean the whole thing out in probably half the time that it's taken me. But I found that the amateurs and this is about the fastest way I can get it cleaned out. About time that we check and see what we're doing here. Got your air compressor going. That's about 1/4 of an inch. Nosy. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, we're down to 1/8 of an inch. That's where we want to be. It's fairly smooth in there now, but I find that if I go in there, it'll save a whole bunch of sanding in there. Yeah, now it's probably. Yeah. Now we're just bragging. Let me see if a ridge or two in there. I think the rest of that, but maybe 220, 320. And if you wanted to do any sanding on the inside, you probably could at that point, at this point here. But then I would take a pencil. Or that, and this. I'm making a line, couple lines in there. I'll pass this around here in just a minute or two. I mark on the inside here. I label it what it is, the kind of wood that it is. And I sign it and I put it in there, a date code. As you see, if you look on the inside of these bells, you'll have that. And that's the thing I think that is generally recommended that you do on virtually all of your work is to sign them if you're proud of it. If you're not proud of it, then don't sign it, I guess. I've got a log of all the stuff that I've made. And if somebody says, where'd this come from? Or when did you make this? From the code, I can tell them just about it. And now we want to drill another hole. And this is going to be a 5/8 inch hole because we've got to have room for that Pardon me? This one. Oh, so you can see inside there. That worked for you? Oh, that can. Oh, okay. And we want to go in there, the distance probably from here all the way through to there. So if we can go in an inch if we wanted to, probably. Don't need to go that far. I think. Now I would take off this whole thing, my wood turning set, and mark it on the inside there, write my name, put the kind of wood the wood is, and put a date code on it. Put pyrography. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I can bring that 2 weeks from now, I guess, for those who get signed up and want to go to that. But I'm not going to. Wasn't going to take time to do it today. Okay. Thanks, Hank. That's good help. And then you say, oh, okay, what about those lines in there? Well, if you use a little soap eraser, your sand, you can uh, erase those pencil marks off of there. And then I would finish the top, put the top on. I'm not going to do that. That's like watching paint dry, sort of. And the kind of finish that I put on uh, depends upon essentially the wood. Uh, yeah, essentially just that, the wood. And it varies if it's real funky. Seal on it, a couple of coats of CA glue. Sometimes I won't put any finish on, well, maybe one coat of finish, because then I'll hang it up and let it put another coat on, do all that off the lathe then. And then it's just use that one. Use this. That doesn't make any difference. See now. We start measuring things. We got the bill back. The dinger then to be a quarter of an inch less than this distance from the outside to the center here. Why the quarter of an inch? That allows for that universal joint, the metal in there. Okay. Oh, usually there's a pencil up there. I cleared the deck before I started. So if I go to about here. We want that handle to be about that much. At what size? Now you can do this with a spindle gouge if you want to. I find that it's just about as fast or faster. You do it with just a carving tool. Except when you get down to the dinger. And the dinger has got to be big enough to go through the hole in your bell. It's probably gone a little bit thinner than it ought to be. Your spindle gouge. Here's where you practice your beads and coves when you're doing that back in the day. Calipers. Check this for zero. Reset your zero here. It's cold in here, so you got to reset it from normal room temperature. You better make the dinger small enough to go through the opening in the bell, right? I got lucky. Then on it. Get this stuff out of the way here. You get your finish on there at this point. And then you drill a 1/16 of an inch hole in this shaft. Slow it down to about 300 RPM. And line this up this way and all that kind of stuff. And you drill this hole in there. going. That little where is it? The one that I made. No, I put it leave it here. Here it is. This will work. This has got to go in there. So let's go in that far. I think I'm probably in that far already. It's there. Because my fingers, I can't hang on to this bit. The 16, but I find most of the Morse tapers that I had, they won't take a 16th inch. They don't go down that far and hold it tight. You could, if you know, if your Morse taper will. That's all this is, a Morse. Well, this is Jacob's chuck, that it'll go down to a 16th of an inch. Okay. You sand this thing first, then, and have your finish on here. The last thing you do. And a lot of times I'll just put CA glue on here, and I think I didn't drop one of those. Oh, yeah, I did. Piece of some of this styrofoam type stuff. It's a pass these around. Yeah, it's packing material essentially. I had a whole bunch of these things from hanging Venetian blinds for Habitat for Humanity, and I saved them. I thought someday I'll use these, and there they are. So you can hold this up here, put a squirt of CA glue on there, let it dry, put another coat, let it dry. You can do it about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and this thing is finished then, as far as the finish is concerned. Stick this in here just enough so it's holding there. Put CA glue in here, push it in all the way. It's glued, it's not going to go anywhere then. Now all you gotta do is part this off. Okay. So we will do that. I'll put my parter offer here. This you get at Cargill, yeah, in Harrisonburg. These are rejected kitchen filet knives that they use at the factory for cutting all the chicken up, I guess, and turkey and whatever. I haven't been over there for quite a while, Hank. I think they probably are. And you can get scissors for $2, I think. Now, you've got this little bit of wood on there. We're going to take care of that later. So let me forget. Normally I make the handles about 1/4 of an inch less than the distance from here to here, the top to the bell. So I just roughly work this out. That's about there at this point. I have to mark it again because Now we'll start measuring again. The top has to fit over your opening that you have here. In this case, it's about 3/4 of an inch. Not quite there yet. See how exact. Now again, get a chance now to make some more round balls up the top here. You can probably get everything off here. This part's done. If I tried to sand that now, I'd make it rougher than it is. So quite often I will sand it. I don't know. 7/8, and don't need to be that big. You need that to be about 3/4 of an inch. More. You can always take more off and you never put it back on. We're arbitrarily going to say that we're there at this point for demonstration purposes, and let's off the coast within 30, 60 foot. Okay, then we need to part this, not part it off yet, but almost. What do we want this down to? This has got to be down to 5/8 of an inch, right? I'm not quite there yet. Yeah, yeah, if you could, if it's fresh wood, it's hard enough. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, the other thing you need to do is to undercut underneath this area right there. And again, that's where this little guy comes in. Then you measure the depth of the distance from to here. There's got to be someplace. You just have to find it. That's pretty close. Part has got to be the 5/8 of an inch, because that's by the hole it made. Leave it off there. Ta-da! And then you part it off. That's if you put your finish on, of course. Whoops, you got to do one more thing. You got to drill a hole in there. Put the finish on it. Put the here on in there, and then you part it off here. Now, get rid of this, I think, at this point, almost. Not done with this yet. This goes in here, like that. Post, but it sticks out long further than it should. And we've got to put the dinger on there yet, right? And we've got a hole in here, but we don't have a hole in here. Okay, so you got a little ice pick. Do not let this slip. It hurts. You start a little hole like that. You go out and buy a drill like this with another 16th inch bit. And you drill a hole in here. Put my universal joint over there, or is it someplace else? Oh, here we go. It was in there now. Now then you take some tight bond glue and you put it in all around inside here. And before that, you check the distance of your dinger, and you've also got to take this little thing off the end that you left. That's nice and flat. You take one drop of CA glue on the top of that, and this is finished. Nobody will ever know how you did that unless you tell them. And then you take your top and fall out, or this won't work. That thing. We've got that here. And that's it. Okay. Now I expect everybody to make one of those before the next meeting.